And actually, someone just texted me today making fun of me. They were like, did you get two of hip hop's greatest producers on your album only to produce the song yourself?
That was my next question. It was like,
I
did
was
you
like, yeah,
produce the song, or did Pharrell produce the song?
I did. I was like, I mean, you know, hey, what can I say? Like, this is just as much my fantasy. You know, it's like, I love the fact that I could get people from our different sort of walks of this shit together, because I'm a fan of music in general. So getting Josh Homme and Mavis Staples together,
Yeah, that was the next question. Like,
it's to me a
I get
fucking,
that
you
one.
know,
I get that one.
me too. And I get that about a lot of shit. And I think that there are a lot of people who like me and like you, because they listen to so much music in general, and because it doesn't mean that, you know, because you listen to one thing and another thing, it doesn't really define you either way, right? You just are searching out for stuff that moves you. And I love the producer in me because I'm a hip hop producer. So you grow up putting and taking different records and jamming them together and seeing how they work together, and seeing how the sounds that aren't originally, you know, created to be working together can create something beautiful. So I've applied that same logic to when we do guests. It's all about what's the coolest thing for the song, what will make the song good. And when you hear the Pharrell thing,
Yeah.
you'll know that it's not happy.
See, like this is the inner nerd of me, because when I was like sort of looking at stuff before our interview, I was like, oh, what the fuck does Mavis Staples and Josh Homme sound like? And then I was like, do you know what? She's a protest singing badass, right? And then you've got this like desert gunslinger in Josh Homme, who's like probably one of the most forward talking, or like, you know, he says what he fucking means all the time. And I was like, this is going to be the most honest and open and raw record.
It's raw. I mean, and the truth is that like the way that it came together was crazy. I mean, I wrote this hook and we tried it like a million different ways. You know, we tried it with like me singing and Mike singing and me and Mike singing, and us just rapping it. And then we had like other singers come in, and we were trying to get it done. And this is after I had already gone and worked on the song with Josh. So Josh is essentially, he's a co-producer on the record. I mean, he plays a bunch of guitar on it, and he does a bunch of sort of harmonizing of vocals. And we had this beautiful sort of sound bed of Josh over a beat that I had done. And we were desperate to find somebody who we felt could, like, you know, match the gravitas of the hook. And I was losing my mind. Mike kept pushing like, no, it's not right. Get someone else. And I was like, fuck you, man. This is fucking killing me. And at the last minute, maybe someone in our camp, Will, one of our managers in the camp, was like, what about Mavis Staples? Because Mavis Staples had reached out to Mike a few years prior to this and asked if he would be interested in like maybe writing something for her. And that never happened, but we had the connection, and we reached out to Mavis. And I mean, we had reached out to everyone. We had reached out to like everyone from like Mary J. Blige to like Billie Eilish, you know, like, you know, just people that we thought were interesting, and of course, Mary is an icon, and but we reached out to a lot of different people that we were like, okay, this could be a different direction. And
does that mean have you got a B track? Have you got like a B side with like Billie Eilish or with Mary J. Blige on it?
None of that happened. None of that worked out.
It was just like ideas.
It was ideas, and we were pursuing it, trying to make it happen and trying to see what it would sound like. And none of it really could happen. And then someone was like, what about Mavis? And the next day I was on a plane to Chicago, because as soon as Mavis's name came up, it was like, of course, that's who we should have been. That's who we should have called. That was our first call. That should have been the first call. And when you hear the record, I mean, she's just such a fucking beautiful soul. And the record, you know, I'm glad that Mike pushed me, because I was a little annoyed. I was like, I fucking wrote this thing, man. Let me say it, you know? And he was just like, trust me, you got to get someone else to sing this shit. I was like, all right. And I called Mike. Mike couldn't make it to Chicago. Me and Taco, who's one of our co-producers, went down to Chicago for the day to record with Mavis. And I called Mike like midway through the session, and I was like, You know how I've hated you for like 2 weeks now because you've been fucking annoying the shit out of me about this song. I was like, you were right. Fuck you. You know.
Oh, he must have had such a a Sammy when you when he said that. He was just like going, "I told you so."
No, he was gracious about it, but he was
Yeah,
jealous that he wasn't able to meet Mavis. So
yeah,
I,
you
I
definitely would be.
yeah.
Where did Rick Rubin come into the equation with this record?
Rick is someone that I've known for a while, and that he was generous enough to offer us his studio at not a crazy exorbitant rate. So we were looking for somewhere that we could go together that was out of our zones, and kind of come together in neutral territory. A lot of times we'll do the records in New York, and sometimes we'll do stuff in Atlanta. And I think for this one, we just were like, let's just go somewhere where we can all hang out and be together. That allows us to just get into a zone that isn't any one thing that we're used to. And Rick offered that to us. So he wasn't really involved in the production of the album. He was just simply kind of a host for the record. He kind of let us take his place over and get comfortable. And he's great. I mean, he's the type of guy who you see him like once a week. He'll come in shorts and flip-flops and sit down and just start listening and just talk about stuff with you or whatever. And he's a great energy.
He doesn't walk though, does he? He levitates. I just get this idea that he just like levitates around and just
there was a picture in his in the studio of him levitating, actually.
I completely 100% believe
I
you.
mean, I don't know if I'm assuming it was doctored, but yeah, it was.
If anybody listening to this that doesn't know of the behemoth that is Rick Rubin, you're going to have an interesting evening on Wikipedia. That's all I'm going to say.